The WBLOCK or write block command in AutoCAD saves selected objects, an existing block definition, or an entire drawing to a new, separate DWG file. This function may be used to create a reusable block library of definitions that can be inserted into other drawings, providing a way to export or create external blocks and optimize drawing files by purging unused data. To access the WBLOCK or write block command in AutoCAD, you're going to want to make sure that you're on the Insert tab of the ribbon, go to the Block Definition panel and choose the Write Block tool from the slide out that has both Create Block and Write Block on it. It's Write Block because it writes that geometry to a new file. So we'll click there. And you'll see that it brings up this dialog box that gives us the opportunity to do a few things. First of all, if I choose block right here, I can select individual blocks that already exist in this drawing and just export them to an external file. They won't be a block in the new file, they'll just be a drawing in the new file. The second option here is to choose the entire drawing, in which case it's going to just take all of the geometry that's in this drawing and write it to a new file. In this case, these four items are blocks, and they would be blocks in the new file, but this one here is not a block, so it would not be a block in the new file. And then the third option here is to choose objects. And so that's what I'm going to do first, is I'm going to change these objects right here into a block. So once I've chosen objects here, I'm going to pick my base point, which I will make the point of that op amp. And then I'm going to select my objects by making a window and selecting them like so. Now that I've done that, I have three options. I can retain this geometry. If I choose to retain the geometry, it will write this geometry to a new file, a new drawing file, but it will not convert this to a block in either this drawing or the target drawing. I can choose as a second option, delete from the drawing, in which case it would take this geometry, write it to a new drawing file, and erase it from this drawing, but it would not add it to the block table. And the third option, this one in the middle, is convert to block. In this instance, it will take this geometry, convert it to a block, and add it to the block table of this drawing, and then also write this geometry to a new drawing, but it won't be a block in the new drawing. So we're going to start off with that. We're going to use this option here. Down here at the bottom, it's asking me where do I want to save it, and you can see that it's saving it in my downloads folder, but I'm going to change the name from new block to op amp. So I'll say op amp, and I will save it. Okay. So now you can see what's happened here is this now, instead of being a bunch of separate objects, it's a block that has been added to my block table in this drawing and ready for me to insert. But it also created a new drawing out of this geometry. So if I were to open that geometry, I could say here's my op amp right here, the one that I just created. And there's the geometry. You can see that it is indeed just all individual geometry, and it is not a block in this drawing. Now this could be handy because what it allows me to do is to say create a new drawing and insert that geometry into a new drawing. So if I wanted to insert that drawing as a block, I can go to the insert command. I'll just type I at the command line, press enter. It brings up this current drawing blocks, but I have the option up here to choose a drawing. So if I pick this, it's going to allow me to navigate to my my sources, and I say that's the one that I want right here. I'll choose open, and it doesn't show it in as a drawing block because it's not a block, but you can see that that geometry is attached to my crosshairs, and if I insert it, it now becomes a block in this drawing. So now it becomes a block. So anytime you insert one drawing into another, the drawing becomes a block once it's inserted. Now the last way you can use this right block command is to create a block library. So each of these are indeed blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can write this entire drawing, or all of this geometry, to a new drawing and call it a block library. So I could come in here, for example, and I could say, again, right block, and this time I'm going to choose the entire drawing as my source, and instead of calling it new block, I'm going to call it library, and I will save it. So it now has exported this entire drawing as a new drawing called library. So again, if I want to insert any of those into a new drawing, here I've started a new drawing. You'll see in here that there are no blocks, but I can go to blocks from libraries on the insert command, and I can now browse to that location. So that's in my downloads folder. I called it a library. There it is. Open that. And it takes it a moment, but it will import all of those blocks. So now I can simply insert them one at a time into here. So it allows me to create a block library out of those objects. So it's just another way of using the right block command. Thanks for watching. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the question and comment area below.